Here's a question that is going to hit close to home. When was the last time you looked at your salary and thought, this is enough, not this is okay for now, or this will do until my next raise, but genuinely, deeply felt satisfied with what you are earning? If you are like most people, the answer is probably never. And that is not because you are greedy or materialistic. It is because you are trapped in one of the most insidious psychological loops known to humanity. I am Leo, and I spend an unhealthy amount of time obsessing over why financial success feels so damn elusive, even when the numbers say you are winning. If you've ever wondered why doubling your income didn't double your happiness, or why you are still stressed about money, despite making more than you ever dreamed possible, hit subscribe, because we're about to dive deep into the psychology that is keeping you perpetually unsatisfied. Let us start with a thought experiment. Picture yourself from exactly 7 years ago. What were you making then? Maybe it was $35,000, maybe it was $55,000. Now remember what you thought back then. You probably had a specific number in mind. Some magical salary that would solve all your problems, and finally make you feel secure. If I could just hit 60,000, you told yourself, I'd have it made. Fast forward to today. Chances are, you've not only hit that target but blown right past it. You are making more money than your past self could have imagined. You've upgraded your living situation, improved your car situation, expanded your lifestyle in countless ways. And yet, if you are being brutally honest, you probably don't feel dramatically different about your financial situation than you did 7 years ago. In fact, you might feel worse. This isn't a character flaw. This is because you are bad with money or ungrateful for what you have. What you are experiencing is called hedonic adaptation, and it is one of the most well-documented phenomena in behavioral psychology. Your brain has an almost supernatural ability to adjust to positive changes in your circumstances, eventually returning you to roughly the same baseline level of satisfaction you had before. Here is where it gets wild. Scientists have been studying this since the 1970s, and the research is consistently mind-blowing. There was a famous study that followed lottery winners for over a year after they won massive jackpots. The results after the initial excitement wore off. These people were no happier than they were before winning millions of dollars. Some were actually less happy because they lost the ability to enjoy simple pleasures. Think about the implications of that. People who experience the ultimate financial windfall, enough money to never work again, to buy anything they wanted, return to baseline happiness within months. If winning the lottery doesn't permanently increase your life satisfaction, what makes you think your next promotion will? But here's where most people get this wrong. They assume the solution is to just make even more money. They think, well, maybe lottery winners weren't happy because they didn't earn it. If I work hard and build wealth gradually, surely that will be different. Except it is not. Your brain runs the same adaptation program on every raise, every bonus, every financial upgrade you've ever achieved. The timeline is remarkably consistent across studies. For most positive financial changes, you are looking at about 3 to 6 months before your new income level feels completely normal. That promotion that felt lifelessly changing in January by summer, it is just your job, the car that made you feel successful when you drove it off the lot. Give it a year, and it is just transportation. Now, let me hit you with some numbers that are going to make you question everything. A Princeton study analyzed over 450,000 survey responses and found that emotional well-being does increase with income, but only up to about $75,000 per year. After that threshold, additional money had virtually no impact on day-to-day happiness. Adjusted for inflation, that number today is somewhere around $95,000 to $100,000. But wait, there is more recent research that complicates this picture. A 2021 study from Wharton found that happiness does continue to rise with income past that threshold. But here is the catch. The rate of increase becomes almost negligible. If going from $50,000 to $100,000 increases your happiness by, let's say, 20 points, going from $100,000 to $200,000 might only add 5 more points. You doubled your income, probably more than doubled your stress and working hours, and got a quarter of the emotional return. This is diminishing marginal utility applied to your entire existence. Yet somehow, the financial advice industrial complex never mentions this when they retelling you to hustle harder and optimize every aspect of your earning potential. They have a vested interest in keeping you on the hamster wheel because if you ever realize the destination doesn't exist, you might stop consuming their content. Let me show you how this plays out in real dollars. Because psychology is abstract, but bank statements are concrete. Imagine you are making $65,000 a year. After taxes, you are taking home about $50,000, roughly $4,200 monthly. Your essential expenses, rent, utilities, food, transportation, insurance, come to around $2,800. That leaves you with $1,400 in discretionary income. It feels tight, but manageable. Then you get promoted. Suddenly, you are making $85,000 after taxes. You are bringing home about $65,000 or $5,400 monthly. But here is what happens next. And this is where the trap springs shut. You upgrade your apartment because you deserve better, adding $600 to your rent. You lease a nicer car because the payment is only $200 more. You start ordering delivery more often because you are busy and successful, adding $400 to your food budget. You subscribe to premium services, buy better clothes, maybe join a fancy gym you'll use twice. Suddenly, your expenses have ballooned to $4,000 monthly, your discretionary income, $1,400. Exactly the same as before your raise. You made $20,000 more per year and somehow have the exact same financial breathing room. This is lifestyle inflation, and it is the physical manifestation of hedonic adaptation in your bank account. The statistics on this are genuinely disturbing. According to recent Bank of America data, 52% of Americans earning between $100,000 and $150,000 describe themselves as living paycheck to paycheck. These are people in the top 20% of household incomes who feel financially stressed every month. And before you blame high cost of living areas, the data controls for regional differences. This is happening everywhere. Even more shocking, a PYMNTS survey found that 36% of people making over $200,000 also identify as paycheck to paycheck. At some point, you have to stop blaming external circumstances and start examining the psychology. These aren't people who can afford their lives. These are people whose lives have expanded to consume whatever resources are available. So what is the solution? The conventional wisdom says to just accept this as the price of ambition, to embrace the grind and keep pushing for more. But that is exactly backwards. The solution isn't to eliminate desire entirely. That is neither possible nor desirable. The solution is to want things intentionally rather than automatically. There is a massive difference between upgrading your living situation because you genuinely value space and comfort versus upgrading because that is just what people do when they make more money. The first is conscious spending aligned with your values. The second is unconscious adaptation to social expectations. This is where the research on experiences versus material purchases becomes crucial. Study after study shows that experiential purchases, travel, concerts, classes, time with people you care about, provide more lasting satisfaction than material upgrades. There are several reasons for this. First, experiences are harder to adapt to because they exist as memories rather than physical objects. You can't get used to a memory the way you get used to a couch. Second, experiences often involve social connection, which is one of the strongest predictors of well-being. Third, experiences become part of your identity in a way that possessions don't. Here's the financial twist that nobody talks about. Experiences are often dramatically cheaper than the material upgrades people make instead. A weekend trip with friends might cost $500. The luxury car you bought partly to impress people costs $50,000. A cooking class might cost $150 and provide genuine skill and enjoyment. The kitchen renovation you did because your old kitchen wasn't impressive enough cost $25,000 and you stopped noticing it after 6 months. We systematically overspending on things that provide less happiness and underspending on things that provide more. This isn't just bad psychology. It is terrible math. But there is an even deeper trap here called the arrival fallacy. This is the illusion that once you reach a certain financial destination, you'll finally be happy. Once you hit 6 figures, once you pay off the house, once you accumulate $1 million in net worth, once you can retire, then you'll be satisfied. The fallacy isn't that these milestones don't matter or improve your life. The fallacy is believing that happiness exists at the destination rather than in the journey. Research consistently shows that people are happiest when they remaking progress toward meaningful goals, not when they achieve them. The anticipation of a vacation provides more joy than the vacation itself. The process of building something provides more satisfaction than completing it. If you are postponing your satisfaction, waiting until you arrive financially to feel good about your life, you are making a catastrophic error. You are sacrificing the journey, which is where fulfillment actually lives, for an arrival that will feel hollow when you get there. I've spoken with people who spent 20 years grinding toward financial independence, hit their target number, and immediately felt lost. The goal that sustained them was gone. The satisfaction they expected didn't materialize. They realized too late that they traded their best years for a promise their brain was never programmed to keep. So how do you actually escape this trap? How do you step off the hedonic treadmill without abandoning financial success entirely? First, create what I call a satisfaction anchor. This is a pre-commitment about how much of future income increases you. Allow to flow into lifestyle upgrades versus investments. I recommend a 70-30 split. 70% of raises go straight to investments. 30% can improve your lifestyle. This prevents automatic lifestyle inflation while still allowing for conscious upgrades. Second, practice gratitude through contrast once a week. Spend 10 minutes vividly imagining your life if you suddenly lost your job and had to return to whatever you were earning 5 years ago. Feel the anxiety, then open your eyes and realize you still have what you have. That gap between imagined loss and current reality is where appreciation lives. Third, optimize for time, not money. The ultimate purchase is buying back your freedom. Every dollar you invest instead of spending is a dollar that eventually works for you. At a 4% withdrawal rate, every $25 invested generates $1 of annual passive income. Compound that over a decade and you've bought yourself genuine financial independence. The hedonic treadmill isn't evil. It is actually an evolutionary survival mechanism that kept our ancestors motivated in a world of genuine scarcity. The problem is, we're now running ancient software in a world of artificial abundance, surrounded by advertising designed to exploit our psychological vulnerabilities. You are not broken for feeling this way. You are human. But being human also means you have the capacity to recognize your programming and choose differently. You can decide that enough is a specific number, not a feeling that always stays just out of reach. You can step off the treadmill, not because you've given up on success, but because you've realized that success was never waiting at the end of an endless race. I am not a financial advisor, mortgage expert, or licensed financial professional. The content on this channel represents personal opinions only and is intended for educational and entertainment purposes. Please conduct your own research and seek professional guidance before making any major financial decisions. See you next time.